Zach Taylor, man. Desmond Ritter making a play down there in Atlanta.
Dude, that on that big Rashad White run, swore it was Bijan, and then I took a double take, and I was like, of course it's not. Why would it be? You don't know how to use Bijan down there.
Dog, Joe can run this offense and cook, man. Pisses me off that Joe Burrow's hurt, dude, honestly.
Dude,
Joe Mixon
the
is
running
running
game
so
is
inspired now that
so
Chase
robust
Brown.
today.
But can you tell Joe Mixon has a little umph in his step, man, that Chase Brown's getting some snaps, dog.
He's getting a little isn't he?
Baltimore. Yeah, he's feeling the heat. Competition breeds success, man.
I've been saying that for a long time. That's what this team's needed, though. At a few positions, they just need some guys to push the starters.
Let's go. We're live, man. Fourth quarter, Bengals up 31-14, melting the clock, 2 minutes and 50 seconds right now, man. Parker, man, the Bengals dominated these boys today. And honestly, man, the Colts, to me, they look unserious and undisciplined to me today. I don't know how they look over the season, but.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is not what you expected to see out of a 7-5 team. I know they're missing their starting quarterback, but they have been for quite some time now. So they've played pretty well, apparently, with the people they have there currently. But this game has been like nothing's gone right for them. Nothing. And Grover Stewart's been a lot less of an impact than I thought he would be.
These under center looks are crazy. I mean, dude, I'm like, man, it just makes me sick. It makes me sick, man. If I'm being honest, it makes me sick. Oh man, CJ Stroud out of the game, head hit the turf with a concussion.
How about a false start?
They call a false start?
Yeah. What the? And Zach's laughing on the sideline.
This isn't the same old Bengals, though, man. And we knew that. But, man, in so many situations like this, as a fan of the team, supporter of the team, bro, in situations like this, they would have folded. 100%, man.
Dude, it's just good to see them, like, really take over a couple games. Like, especially now, like, without Burrow behind, like, Browning was able to, like, really just kind of help these guys cruise to a nice – this is a pretty solid win, man. I know the first half got a little interesting there at the end, but this second half, there was, like, no contest. Shout out everybody in the chat. I know people, a little early still wrapping up this game. I know it's not the most exciting game. I know it's a home game, so I'm sure a bunch of people are at it, but we appreciate everybody that's down there supporting the show. Make sure you like the show down below. It's greatly appreciated. And you're right, Sean. It's been quite fun to watch today. Been a great time.
Definitely has, for sure, man. They put on a masterclass against the Colts, man, to be honest. I couldn't see the vision, man. I think sometimes, man, as I'm looking off to the right because my screen's over here, I'm tweeting. Sometimes, man, as a supporter of the team, you kind of get jaded, right? Because you support the Bengals your entire life. You kind of watch the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows. We've had team success, right? But when things go bad for us as a team, not many times have like the franchise responded in that season. You know what I mean? Typically what you like, it just goes downhill, man. This being able to compete and the defense stepping up, like, dude, it's crazy, honestly, man. Because I couldn't see the vision, Parker. I'd be lying if I told you I saw it, man. I couldn't see the vision. Now I'm thinking,
We
hey,
we
let's
all
take it to
crossed
the
our
hall.
fingers a little bit.
We crossed our fingers a little bit, man. People are saying they knew Jake Browning was going to be, the best thing since sliced bread, and they're just, to be honest, they're lying to you. But
No, I was a
dude,
fan of
man,
him in the
they're
preseason, and
balling.
I never saw him having 300-yard performances back to back, one in prime time. I never would have saw that coming.
Yeah, man, and that's the thing. I mean, what an incredible, incredible story of Jake Browning, man. Because I watched him at Washington, and like he won, but we know how it is in the Big Ten. Some teams are just better than other teams. You know what I mean? And he
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
bad, right? He played good, but some teams in the Big Ten are just better. You just got Ohio State's just going to win 10 to 11 games every single year. You know what I mean? Just like Bama, just like Georgia. So I think when you look at that, that's kind of it's just shocking, to be honest, man. Shocking. And now I went from thinking, dude, I probably need to start looking at these prospects to, hey, look, man, let's sneak in the playoffs and let's go up to Baltimore. Let's eliminate the Ravens from the playoffs. Let's go. Put us in the bank.
Dude, this is I'm excited to see this late season run, man. They're really pushing for something right now. They're really playing meaningful
They're
games
pushing,
right now.
man. They're pushing, man. And to be honest, dude, it's impressive, man. You got it. We really like. We'll talk about Jake Browning a lot, but dog, Zach Taylor and helping this the offensive line is not bad. They're not. But any offensive line in the world, if you drop back 50 times a game with no balance, and the defensive line who have world class athletes who are 6'5", that run, you know, 4.5s, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage, man. These guys live to rush the passer.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what I feel like a lot of people have been saying all year. It's not really about just get some meaningless rushing plays in there to get look balanced on paper, but really to time the running plays properly and run the right run plays in the right situations and put yourself in advantageous situations and take advantage of the looks the defense is giving you instead of just letting it run and letting your quarterback just sling it around all game. One of those situations leads you to a lot more success than the other, and I'm glad that they've been a lot more balanced with Browning at quarterback.
And the offense looks different, okay? Like, it does, man. They probably got like 130 yards off of screens today. Probably 150 yards off of screens today. It looks different, man, but I think it's something they need to adapt with Burrow. Like, Burrow's good, man. He's great. Top two quarterback in the league. But make it simple, man. Stop making everything like you got to be perfect. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how I feel, man. And it's not even on Burrow. It's on everybody.
Well, that's been the weirdest part for me, where it's like I don't know what because like the screen game didn't work 3-4 weeks ago. It was not effective at all. And then
Right,
the
right.
last few weeks they've been breaking off these massive runs, man. And I don't understand what changed there. Like that's weird to me. And the same thing with the run game, where maybe it is just them taking better advantage of certain looks or whatever it might be, but it just looks different now. And I wish, I don't know why it took this long.
I think the screen game, man. I don't know. It's hard to explain why it's improved like that. I will say this: they're calling more screens. You know what? They're calling more screens. They're. I just think they're calling more screens, and I just think I don't know, man. Joe Mixon can always catch a screen and take it 50 yards. You know what I mean? But now when you
Are
throw
they
Chase
calling?
Young and
They were calling them like early in the season and last year, and they just weren't working.
they just were not working, dude.
Look at that, man! Top of the hunt. Top of the hunt. I don't think we're going to get a loss out of Cleveland today. How's the Texans game looking?
They're getting destroyed. Texans are getting destroyed.
That's good.
I think Joe Burrow's pissed, dude. Doesn't he look like a little like? Doesn't he look pissed on the sideline? He's probably just like thinking, like, man, I could be out there.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is. Like, oh, now this team's clicking and I'm sitting over here. I'd be pissed too. Man, that's a big win, man. That's another 20-point dub. Or 20-point dub take to the house, man. And that's not a bad team. I know they look kind of like a joke today, but that's not a bad team.
All right, let's get this show started. Let's get it.
Let's do it, man. Who dey?
Who dey, baby? Who dey? Welcome to Chatterbox Bengals. I'm JE. I'm here with my man Parker. Parker, the Bengals just absolutely shellacked the Indianapolis Colts, a playoff team in the hunt, man. How you feeling, brother? And what do you think about that game, man? It was a great watch.
Yeah, that was a fun game to watch, man. I feel great. I mean, we're 2-1 with Jake Browning in the game in the last 3 games, right? I mean, outside of the Steelers game, it was 2 pretty solid performances too. I mean, they weren't games, just getting carried by the rest of the team or just kind of feeling his way along. He's really stepped up, man, and that feels great. Have a backup that's able to come in and really do something for your offense. And now we're in a position where we're trying to make a playoff push here at the back end of the season. I don't think 2 weeks ago anybody was thinking that at all.
Man, we're on the hunt to make I just got a notification. Matthew Stafford scored a touchdown. Ravens in a tough one right now. But, yeah, man, Jake Browning and the Bengals, I think – and I'll say it, man, because I was one of the people, when Joe Burrow went out, man, I think a lot of people were devastated, to be honest. I think Joe was devastated. I think a lot of the fan base was devastated. But I did not expect Jake Browning to – come in and be able to execute like he's doing. Now, I think the first game, against the Steelers, Jake Brown was like, hey, don't hold anything back. Let's run with Joe Burrow ran, right? It didn't work, okay? But the adaptation from that Steelers game to when they played the Jags to today, which was a very similar game plan, it almost looks like a completely different Bengals team, how they're calling games, to be honest. Versus when Burrow was in there, man, it has been extremely effective. And, dude, like you said, man, we're right in the hunt. And Jake Browning, dude, I don't know what he had today from a statistical standpoint, but he's been very efficient, man. And in the intermediate game, he's been very accurate. So to say that I am, I guess I would say I'm extremely impressed and extremely shocked. Okay, I'm still in awe of Jake Browning, to be honest.
Yeah, Jake Browning went 18 for 24, 275 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and the interception, which you have to put it on the quarterback, but I don't know if that's on the quarterback. And he also had 7 yards rushing and a touchdown. So, I mean, that's a big day from the backup, man. That is a big day from your backup quarterback. And I think the thing that's really stood out to me the most these last couple of games is how easy the offense looks. Like whether they're running the ball, whether they're passing the ball deep, short, intermediate, play action, screens, everything just feels a lot easier. And I wonder, and that's usually you throw that backup in there, and I mean, he gets a little choppy. He's got to feel everything out. He's got to get in the rhythm of the offense. But I honestly wonder if it's half of that comes from all the reps he got in the summer, and then now he can step into the offense and feel confident and comfortable, and he's able to run these easier concepts and kind of I wouldn't call it a simplified offense because it honestly feels just different overall. But whatever he's been doing lately, man, it just feels good.
Man, that was to see Jake. I think the biggest part, and someone mentioned it, T. Brookie mentioned it in the chat. Shout out to the chat, by the way. I know we had shouted the chat out. Parker did before the show, but shout out to the chat, always showing up for the Chatterbox Bengals and watching the show. We appreciate you all. But T. Brookie mention when Jake Browning threw the pick six, okay, and then he comes back and responds, and he doesn't look shaken. I mean, just incredible poise, great play calling, and it truly felt like Parker. And I always say this. I use this analogy a lot because it's so true. I think when you're talking quarterbacks in football, right? It's like get them some layups, right? It seemed like guys today had 2 to 3 yards of separation the entire game. Like there were dudes just wide open. There was one contested catch to Jamar Chase on the comeback. And then for the most part, I think it was pretty open, right? Because you got a couple screens in there. You got the RPO slant to T. Higgins that went for a big gain. Just when you really think about it, man, it just feels like a lot of things were wide open today, and Jake Browning executed at a high level. And then when you mix in those screens, Parker, you got guys like Chase Brown, touchdown Brown, taking it to the crib. You know what I'm saying? That's the most explosive play I've seen with the Bengals in a long time outside of that Chiefs Jamar Chase slant they took to the crib. And then the Charlie Jones punt return, right, this season. Because I don't think we've seen anything like that this season outside of the Charlie Jones punt return. But, man, what a play from him and what a play from Jake Browning and just how to, make plays there in the game. Now, the defense in general, Parker, this year was not the defense we expected. We kind of had some bumps and bruises, weren't playing complimentary football. But you fast forward to today, what did you see in that Bengals defense, man? And what did you think about kind of how they performed today?
Well, I think we talked about it right before we hopped on the show, but I really think the front four, the defensive line really stepped it up today. They looked a lot more impressive. I know they started out a little shaky, but they were still getting after the quarterback. They came out and I felt like they came out a lot more aggressively than they usually do. I feel like usually we see them come out and they're trying to get a feel for the game and they're playing a little slower. They're playing more of the run game. They're not really trying to get after guys. And it really felt like from snap one, they were trying to get after Minshew and force him to either off balance throws or just get him out of the pocket, moving around, or get him under pressure and force some bad decisions. And that ended up working out for the Bengals today. But that's really what I noticed the most, especially with two young tackles. I think Trey was getting after it today, man. That's always good to see. I wish I would have saw the rookies get more involved or be more productive overall. But it was one of the better games out of the defense for me. And I've been very, iffy on this defense all year. I like you said, they haven't been the defense that we expected from the last year or two. They kind of been a little up and down, a little roller coaster, inconsistent. But I think today they really put together a pretty complete game from what I saw.
Man, they put together a complete game. The person who really dominated and showed up on tape was Trey Hendrickson, 100%. Like anybody could have watched that game and said, dude, that 91 guy. With Trey Hendrickson, to me, okay, people will say maybe he's not a household name across the league. He should be, folks, okay? He's one of the best pass rushers in football. He consistently makes plays. And if there's a mismatch, he's going to annihilate that person 100%. I don't know if it was Blake Freeland he was going against, the guy we liked in the draft, but Trey Hendrickson was eating. And I got to say, the biggest difference to me, Parker, and what we're seeing from this defense is that they're tackling better. They got better communication on the back end, right? Bending and not breaking. Even though they gave up some yards today, they didn't just break down and collapse, right? We saw a defense that really this whole season has been struggling with tackling, which we all know, right? My grandma could go outside right now and make a tackle. It's not an ability thing. She might struggle to make a tackle, but she could do it, okay? It's not an ability thing. It is a want to and a willingness thing. And sometimes I don't know if it's a rhythm, but when you start to miss tackles, it's like a disease, right? Everyone starts to miss tackles. But the boys are tackling better. They're playing more sound defense. I think they've got their say in them, which they'll clean it up and they'll get better on the back end. They're missing CTB as well, too, man. And we even saw DJ Ivy, the University of Miami kid, get in the game, man. And he had some really good snaps, man.
Yeah, no, I was excited to see DJ Ivy getting involved. And I know I saw a couple people talking about it early in the game about how, Dax Hill was involved in a lot, but that's not necessarily a good thing when you're really counting on your front seven, front six to make some plays more in the box. But then, like you said, the game kind of locked down for him. And I think we saw, the saying that we all hear, we all talk about in the fan base, where it's this defense is really bend, don't break. And we saw them get really lucky because they didn't break. They were willing to bend a lot in a couple instances, and they just got lucky. And sometimes, people say all the time, but sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And they got lucky a few times early in this game, and then that's what allowed them to really take the game away and put it away early.
Sometimes you need the ball to just bounce your way, right, Parker? The one thing I'll say about this team is when they went on the Super Bowl run and when they went to the AFC Championship, they were a team that on defense, they weren't the Steel Curtain, and I hate the Steelers, okay? They weren't the Ray Lewis and Avery Ravens, but they were a team that when opportunity presented itself, they made the play when it came to it. 11 team, they're 1-11 is what we like to call it. Every single person doing their job to go to have together cohesively as a unit of 11 to be a great defense, man. I think we're starting to see that come into play. It's very inspiring to watch them playing well. I saw Jermaine Pratt miss the tackle early, but he was able to really slow the runner down and let people rally. And I just think, man, overall, the biggest takeaway for me, Parker, for the defense is like, dude, they're tackling.
Well, good to see. And it sounds dumb, but it's like, holy, oh man, they can do it. They remember how to do it.
Sean Connor in the chat says, Colts rushed for 46 yards, 2.6 yards per carry, man. 2.6, right? We had a team in the Texans come into Cincy, run the rock down our throats with Devin Singletary, a team that couldn't even run. And I don't think it was a talent thing. It was just we weren't tackling. And this team looks physical, man. You love to see it, bro. You really do, man. And the next thing really is the guy behind the machine. We know Lou Anarumo. He's the mastermind, the godfather. But the guy who is in front of the media every single day, doing these press conferences, talking about the team. When Joe Burrow got hurt, you know what I mean? He was saying, oh, man, I'm excited about the opportunity. And I was like, really? Joe just got hurt, coach? I couldn't see the vision, man. But Zach Taylor, to me, Parker, has stepped up, right? We'll talk about Jake Browning. And he's the guy who's going to get his name in the paper. They're going to show clips on ESPN. Opposing fans are going to say Jake Browning's better than Joe Burrow. Obviously, they'll troll. But the truth is that Zach Taylor, to me, has done an incredible job on making it easy for Jake, giving him early layups so the intermediate routes get a little bit easier once you start to get a rhythm. And then also as well, too, the battle rhythm and variety with the under center game has made this team dangerous, man. I mean, they were probably under center to me, Parker. I don't know the numbers statistically, but I'd say maybe about 40% of the game, 40 to 35% of the game, they ran under center snaps. We don't see that typically with Joe, right? So except for that 49ers game, man. So what'd you think about Zach Taylor? I mean, you might have different thoughts than me on how he's kind of coached this season. But what are your thoughts on that and kind of how, view Zach Taylor after this game?
Yeah, no, and it's like I said earlier, and I feel like we've been saying this whole show, but it's true where this offense just felt easy, right? It felt like they were getting easy yards. It felt like the plays were easy to read through. There was not a lot of strain. I mean, the most strain, there was a little trouble finding open receivers early in the game. I know there was some separation, but there was a couple plays, some of the play action early in the game seemed to not really work out early. He had to extend the play and get there late, which he was able to do, which is good to see. He had a couple kind of throws that made you tighten up a little bit, but they ended up working out. Again, got to get lucky sometimes. But I really feel like that was the biggest change that I noticed, where even when Burrow was in there, like you said, top 2 guy in the league, it really just felt like there was times where he couldn't get through the full play. He wasn't able to get through the progressions as he wanted to or at the pace and rhythm that he wanted to get through it at. Whereas today, and even like I said, against the Jaguars, like it really just felt like it was easy and it was all on time. It was all in rhythm for the most part, as much as it can be in a football game. And that's the best part about being a balanced offense. And that's something that I think this team really needed because, like we talked about earlier, an unbalance in your offense really puts your entire offense under strain because your defense doesn't have to account for both sides of the game. They only have to account for the pass or the run. And usually with the Bengals, when you're a pass-heavy team, teams are playing you a lot softer where the run game is open, but if you're not utilizing it, it doesn't allow you to really use your full offense. But now, again, today, running the ball well, running screens well, you're able to get to that play-action game. They have to respect the play-action game, which allows you to open some of these easier shots. And it just makes the whole game easier. It felt that way to me today.
It felt like, to me, now they didn't get Jamar Chase involved much today, and I lost some money, okay? Jamar Chase was at 5.5, receptions. I'm a little mad about that, you know what I'm saying? But what I will say is that the offense right now is operating at such a unique level that the game it's just like going off of like, okay, let's mess with the defense's rules, let's make them wrong, let's create easy completions, and let's run the ball. And then when they're expecting us to either really throw the ball deep, let's throw a quick screen here, right? When they're expecting us to just run a play action, let's run a play action screen. Let's dump it off to Chase Brown and watch him go for 60. And then when he gets down to the 2-yard line, the defender's right there on his heels. Let's watch him make a guy miss. So I just think I'm the type of guy who I believe the NFL is a week-to-week, what have you done for me lately league. I will never say fire Zach Taylor. I will say Zach needs to be better. Zach needs to step up. But when Zach steps up and he coaches great, you gotta give him a round of applause. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. You hate Zach Taylor, you love him. You got to give him a round of applause because the way Zach goes, the way Joe Burrow goes, that's the way the team goes. And I think Zach Taylor has done an awesome job of rallying the guys. He's always been a culture guy. But also I think in this game, Parker, in the last game against the Jaguars, play calling really stood out, man, straight up. And stood out to the point to where the Bengals have scored 34 points this week. And what they scored last week, 31? That's
they were hitting that 30 mark, man.
Jamar Chase didn't even go for 100 yards today, let alone have more than 5 targets. And they scored 34 points today.
It feels like the offense we saw last year and during the Super Bowl run where it's like, you can pick and choose. Like, if they want to shut down Jamar, we'll just ignore Jamar and we'll use everybody else in the offense. If you want to leave him open, then we'll ignore who else you want to take away today, and we'll just focus on him. Like it's when they're able to be flexible with this offense, like we've seen them do in the past, when they allow themselves to do that and explore other options and just take what the defense is giving them offensively. Like this team looks like a completely different team. We're not kicking field goals all game like they did against the Rams. We're not struggling to get on the board. Like we're able to be a 30-point a game team, and that's where this team needs to be. And that's where they can be, in consecutive weeks.
This is a team that I hold to such high standard, especially when Burrow's in the game, that when they don't hit, like when they're struggling to score points, I'm like, what's going on, man? You got Joe Burrow. He's going to probably go wear a gold jacket one day. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and then Jake Browning comes in, as the conductor, and they're cooking. I mean, no, it's not like you're not seeing these crazy throws, you know what I mean, like you see with Joe. But what you're seeing is just a guy who's taking what the you know what I mean? It's just easy. And I think that's the thing that will go lost on people who – I don't want to go too far from the tangent, but I got to say this because this bothers me. Okay, today in the NFL are really fans of football, right? They watch something and they don't – I love everybody, okay? I love people who love football. I love every single Bengals fan is incredible. I even love the trolls out there on Twitter that hate the Bengals. But a lot of – and I'm not talking about Bengals fans. A lot of trolls will watch football and not know exactly what they're watching, right? Jake Browning's been doing an incredible job, but I gotta be extremely clear. Zach Taylor, just like Parker was saying, it's been easy, man. I mean, you're seeing Boyd have 2-3 yards of separation. You're seeing T. Higgins have separation. I mean, that catch that T. Higgins makes down the sideline, he's wide open. Browning throws it over the wrong shoulder, actually, and he makes an incredible – well, maybe T looks over the wrong shoulder. But no, he threw it the wrong shoulder because T looks back outside. He's supposed to look inside. Jake Browning throws it on the wrong shoulder, and T makes an adjustment and catches that. And I mean, like, dude, this has just been like an incredible showing from this team. And Zach Taylor deserves credit. Jake Browning deserves credit. Offensive line deserves credit. It's been an entire team effort, man. It is beautiful to see, and I want them to maintain consistency with this. Even if Joe Burrow were to magically come back, this season or, when he comes back next season, Parker, I want them to keep this intact and then add other things into it. You know what I mean? They just put too much pressure. Orlando Brown's dealing with a groin injury. He hasn't been what we thought he would be coming in, right? He hasn't. But if you take pressure off of him and don't drop him back 40 times a game, he's going to play better because he's taking less of those snaps and he can impose his will. And the defense is tired too because you're running the ball. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of rambling on that, man. But
no, you're good, man. You're good. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, dude. So that's just what I was saying, man. Shout out to the chat, man. T. Brookie, after living good but not great, coach of the Marvin Lewis. I appreciate Zach Taylor being able to finish strong and win big games. 100% T. Brookie. We have not seen this team in the past consistently win big games, especially under the bright lights, right? That's new for us, to be honest. Zach is like us all. We all make mistakes, 100%. From Charlie White. Mark Fetters, my dude, he says DK Metcalf is a dog. We're not watching the game, but I'm sure DK is going crazy. Must be on your fantasy team. I'm seeing Lamar Jackson probably just did something incredible. Man. But let's kind of get back to it, Parker. And you are the expert in-house O-line enthusiast. I mean, not even enthusiast, right? You're an actual coach. Like, you know the X's and O's. You live and breathe this. The run game, people will talk about Chase Brown, and we'll only talk about Chase Brown, quite frankly, right? They won't say, hey, Cordell-Volson had a great block there. Cordell-Volson was able to climb to the second level and seal it so Chase Brown can make that run. Can you tell us a little bit about what you saw in the run game, man? And people in the chat, bro, by the way, are saying, let me get that hat. Well, we're going to have Parker send you that hat, Eric. So give us your address, and Parker will send that hat today, man. He'll sign it, too.
That's like one of my favorite hats. I got like when I went out to Cincinnati the very first time, man. I bought like 3 hats when I went to Cook's, and it was like this one spoke to me, man. I had to get it. No, but as far as the run game goes, though, I was really worried because like this is again just like when we played the Steelers, like this is a run defense, a defensive line that I was really worried about facing off against just because they're really good at what they do. And they got Grover Stewart back. I don't know if a bunch of people know who that is or if people are talking about him, but he's a dude on the inside. And, like, really their entire front seven, that's what they're built to do. And, like, the fact that they were able to – I mean, they went for 111. I mean, what is that, like 104 outside of Jake Browning's 7th. So – both of them averaging over 3 yards a carry. Mixon almost hit 4 yards a carry with a touchdown. The run game looked great today, and I really think it came down to the fact that they're willing to stay with it. It wasn't just bringing kind of some garbage run at the end of the series or the first and 10. We were mixing up what they were doing. They were mixing up the runs they were doing. They were running the run plays that actually worked. It was just a whole combination of things there. And this is what I've been asking for the run game for a long time, because the front 5 for the Bengals does a great job at run blocking, in my opinion. I think they did a great job, a much better job earlier in the season. I think they've honestly kind of trailed off, and they haven't been executing as well based on what I've been seeing when I watch the film lately. But it's funny because they haven't been executing as well, but they've been running the ball more, so it looks better. And that's the funniest part to me is, like, if we could just get them on the same page and allow the front 5 to really, get out there and get physical with guys and then run the ball more like that, we're going to really open up some opportunities. And that's where it's been fun to see with this new, Jake Browning Bengals lately, where the front 5 has been able to be a lot more physical, not even just in the run game, but even in pass protection, where it's like, man, like when you're able to just play a little more loose, a little more relaxed, you're not under duress all the time. You're able to really just get on guys. I mean, I've been talking all season about how I want to see the physical Orlando Brown that we, expected when he came into Cincinnati. In the last few weeks, I've seen him even in pass pro just throwing dudes around. And I posted a clip last week of him in the run game tossing a dude. And it's just like, man, this is what I've been hoping to see from this group. But I really feel like they've been having to play conservative because it was either a deep pass play where they have to drop into an actual pass set, or it's RPOs where they're not allowed to get upfield just based on the way that they scheme their RPO run blocking. So being able to see them in the run game, see them just get on top of guys and just annihilate and create these nice lanes and get a nice push. I know it struggles at times. The run game isn't perfect, just like the pass game isn't perfect. But overall, it's looked really good. I'm excited that they're using more Chase Brown because I love the burst that kid has, man. I mean, Mixon's a hard runner. We saw it today. He's able to just get through tackles and keep the pile moving on his own, not to mention when the O-line gets there and is able to push as well. But having the change up with the burst that Brown has, whether it's on a screen or it's in the run game, I mean, he was doing it from between the tackles. It wasn't like we're running tosses and sweeps and getting them on the edge and letting them get the open field to make someone miss and get the burst. You're running like off tackle or even in the A gas, and he's just able to squirt into open space and just burst and get out of there. And it's fun to see because I feel like the Bengals haven't had a lot of burst lately in the run game over the last couple of seasons, and it's fun to finally have that young guy in there that's willing to not only just pound it inside and run the hard run plays, but he's able to maximize his opportunity when he gets into space. He's able to make guys miss. He's able to accelerate and get through the smaller windows as far as his vision goes. And it's more fun to watch when they're having the 1-2 punch and they're actually staying balanced. As an O-line guy, I like watching run plays, and it's been fun.
I gotta tell you guys this too. O-line guys, they're gritty. They love to smash people, And as Parker was talking, the reason I was laughing is because he was getting real pause-worthy on that, There was some pauses in
I was
there,
trying not
I
to.
mean?
I was trying so hard.
I mean, you were just laying them on me, man. I almost cracked up laughing. Right? I was like, this guy, Parker's going.
I got worried there. It's hard. I'm telling you, there's a fine line between O-line play and stuff you shouldn't play around your mother. There's a small gray area in the middle.
Fine line, man, for sure. Nah, man. I think I won't really, I'm not look, I understand the O-line, but I'm not like your level of understanding. I will say the one thing I know about the run game as a defender is that anytime you have to worry about the run and the pass, it makes playing defense so much harder, man. When you got a team that you just know is going to drop back, dude, it's like, they're going to run or drop back. It's just, they're so one-dimensional. You don't even have to respect the other side of the ball. You're literally just like, okay, we know this team's going to run the ball 90% of the time. Or they're going to pass 90% of the time. They may sneak in a halfback draw every now and then and go for 15, but that's not who they are. Right? But when the Bengals establish balance, just like they did that year they went to the Super Bowl, they are one of the most dangerous teams in the league. When you watch the Bengals with Jake Browning and they got balance, Jake Browning's cooking. All right? Jake, I owe you an apology, man. Okay? Because you are cooking. I did not think you could do that, to be honest, Jake. And I owe you an apology. You've been balling out of your mind, and you're making the game look easy, straight up, to be honest. I think it's a lot to do with the team as well, too. But I got to give credit to Jake, man, because he is making the decisions straight. And I love the way he's playing, man. But let's talk about this outlook, okay? Ravens are in a hell of a game right now. I don't know if I have the scores. Ravens are in a hell of a game. Browns are beating the Jags right now, but I think it's a one-score game, and the Jags have the ball. Bengals beat the Colts today. They moved to 7-6. We saw the graphic. They are on the outside looking in, but they're the next team in if they can continue to win, man. What do you think about the outlook, man, and how are you feeling about kind of where the boys are at right now? Jags turned the ball over. Apparently it's 3 minutes in the fourth quarter. Cleveland has the ball, or they just punted, actually. Cleveland made a field goal, 10-point game, sorry. Go ahead, buddy.
I think we're getting extra time in this Ravens game. I think we're going overtime.
Are we in OT?
Well, they just
Dude,
kicked
I
a
got
field
to
goal.
turn the game on, man.
31-31, 7 seconds left in the game.
Really? Dude, I got man.
But anyway, as far as outlook goes, I think for the Bengals specifically, right? Like we talked about with Jake Browning and how he makes his offense flow and how easy it all looks. I think my biggest takeaway from the last few weeks, if they run this offense with Browning and they're able to get 300 yards, they're averaging a 300-yard game right now. If they're able to do that with Jake Browning, what could they do running the exact same offense around Joe Burrow, right? And that's where I think the real conversation is. I don't know if it's I wouldn't say you can really allocate blame to any one party, but we need to get on the same page, as an organization as far as why are we not doing this consistently? Because if we're able to have a guy that has like zero NFL experience whatsoever come in and just light up the world and have these, talking heads on ESPN say that he's going to be the next coming and he's going to be, everyone's going to want a Jake Browning on their team or whatever crazy stories they're going to start spilling out over the next week, after 2 great performances back to back. Why aren't we doing the same thing with 9? That's what I'd love to see. And whether it just comes down to the balance, like I talked about, like we both talked about, or whether it's just incorporating more under center, like you talked about. I don't know if it's a Zach Taylor doesn't like doing that stuff, or if it's a Joe Burrow thing, or if it's a Brian Callahan thing, or maybe it's just all the heads in the room saying, this is the direction we want to go with Burrow. But obviously we've now seen they have this entire offense in their back pocket that they just weren't utilizing. And I know there's a lot of things that they've been doing as of late that I saw a bunch of people, including myself, clamoring for, 10 weeks ago. And so that's where I would love to see them next year with Joe Burrow do something very similar. And I think this is one of the best offenses to run, especially in the NFL, where you can keep things easy, you keep things quick, and you kind of let your guys cook. And then that way, once you get into the fourth quarter, maybe you're in a closer game, that's when you can start opening up and get to the PhD level offense that Joe Burrow might like to run. But you have to start easy and get in that rhythm as an offense. It's not about just getting your quarterback in a rhythm. It's about getting your offense in a rhythm. And that's where I think they never really liked that because I don't think they were afraid of, they didn't feel like they had to get Joe Burrow in a groove for him to, play at his best. They were confident what he could do just out the gate. But overall, as an offense, you have to get your receivers involved. You have to get your running backs involved. You have to get your O-line in a nice groove and let them have a good feel of how your game is going to go. And then that helps your defense. We're able to have these nice sustained drives on offense, which keeps your defense fresh. I guess what I'm trying to say in all my rambling, if you run this simpler offense, at least early in games, it just makes everything else fall into place later when you have a good team. Now, when you have some of these kind of weaker roster, they're not able to. They have to kind of get out here and get after it early. But the Bengals, we're not that team anymore. We don't have to try and get the jump on teams. We can control the pace of the game and just play our game.
I think you hit everything on the head, dude. Honestly, and I don't want to repeat what you said, but I think I might because you covered just about everything. I think you the way you explained it was very well. And I don't think you were rambling. I think you were cooking, to be honest, is what the kids say now. But what I will say is that the Bengals need to continue to stay on this pace, and they need to understand every single year you don't have to find a new identity. This is who you are. Yeah. You're in the AFC North. Punch people in the mouth, okay? Punch them in the mouth, and then let Joe Burrow cook. Let Jake Browning cook. Let Joe Burrow cook. If this is what this team is capable of, and Jamar Chase didn't even have 100 yards, I don't want to look too far ahead, right? But truthfully, this is one of the most dangerous teams in football, right? And when I was on with, I think I was on with Casey, and I was saying I probably said something a little crazy, okay? And I say crazy things. But I was like, man, the Bengals need to adapt like a 49ers type mindset, right? Not be, of course, they can't replicate the players they have, okay? They got Williams, they got Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. They got all these guys, right? Nick Bosa. They can't replicate the personnel. But the scheme, right? Brock Purdy's in the MVP conversation right now, Parker, right? He's not dropping back every single snap and throwing for 400 to 500 yards, right? It's a lot of misdirection, a lot of play action, and just making the right decision. And that's what you have here with Jake Browning, and that's what you should have here with Joe Burrow next year. I hate to keep talking about Joe Burrow, okay? Because Jake Browning's got the keys to the car right now, man, and he is driving that. He's driving it, okay? He's taking us around the block. He's got everybody in the back with their seatbelts on. He's got his turn signals on. This guy's running the whole show. You know what I mean? He's doing a really good job at it. But I'd be remiss if I didn't say this team is incredible, and truthfully, the future now is bright. The future next year is bright, but they have to be committed to punching people in the mouth and understanding who they are and what they have in personnel up front. Truthfully, Parker, I don't think athleticism scores for O-line is important. I'm not an offensive line scout, but I do believe these guys can have success up front if they play a little bit more to their game. Right? We played a Burrows game, but we all know, Parker, every single game is one of the trenches, dude. If you're not protecting the trenches, if you can't win up front, what are we even talking about? Because it's going to catch up to you sooner or later. You can only get around it for so long. And as Bengals fans, we know this. We've seen this real time. The last 2 years, we've seen this. And kudos to Duke Tobin, kudos to the Browns, kudos to the Blackburns. They did everything possible, in my opinion. They did everything they could in their power to go out and put an offensive line around Joe Burrow. Now it's about bringing the identity together, being consistent, and just improve and continuing to improve. Jake Browning having success in this scheme will be the best thing ever that happened to the Bengals when we look back on this, man. And I'm incredibly proud of him. I'm humbled because I didn't see it coming. I think I'm rambling right now, Parker, but I think as a Bengals fan, I've said this a couple times, okay, especially in spaces. I don't know where you've been as a Bengals fan if you haven't felt pain, angst, an emotional roller coaster as your time as a Bengals fan. I mean, where have you been, right? We've had a lot of good teams. We've played in a lot of good games, but it's been a lot of ups and downs. So when you get to this moment and you lose your franchise quarterback for the second time in his career, you almost start to spiral, almost like the team did right in that game. Jamar Chase came in a press conference the next week and said, "Hey, look, man, dude, I don't think people were ready to play that week." That's what he said, right? He said that I love Jamar Chase because he's the most honest person, and he's going to tell it how it is, man. But he said, "Hey, man, I don't think we were locked in. I think we just had a lot of things going on," and rightfully so. And I think this is we've said this before, but truthfully, at this point, this is not the same old Bengals, and I don't think we'll ever be looking back saying how how people used to troll the Bengals and say the Bungles, right? We'll never look back and ever say that from going forward from this point on, because I said it during the other stream, Parker. Any other season when a team loses their franchise quarterback and people go down, teams fold. This team has got more fight, man, and I am incredibly proud of this team, and I'm excited to watch it all play out, man. Anything else to add, brother? What do you got?
Yeah, man, it just feels like they still want to win games. I think it just speaks to, almost the PTSD that you brought up about, Bengals fans having, where it's like, oh, quarterback goes down. Why wouldn't he go down? There's the season. Oh, Jake Browning looks good. Oh, Jake Browning went down. There's the season. It's over again. I mean, we're waiting for the next event that's going to, tank the Bengals season. It's going to really take them out of the game. Oh, no, we're back. We have to reset all over again. It's over. But it's like, man, no, it's these guys want to win games, and that's where, we talk all the time about, when it comes to tanking or whatever term you want to use. Front offices tank, but players and coaches don't tank. And when it comes to the guys they have in this locker room, Burrow is an important piece of this locker room. He's still in it. But the most important piece is, the other 21 guys that are starting games out there. And those guys still got
absolutely.
the fight. They still want to go out there and win games. And that's what it feels good as a fan now because, like you said, this team isn't crumbling. Like I feel like even 4 years ago, this team would have been in disarray right now. It'd been like, oh, well, this is a freaking disaster. But no, right now, there's people right now that legitimately, like this team legitimately has hope for a playoff run right now, which is crazy to think. I know we're only through 14 weeks of football, the Bengals are, but it's like, holy, like this team can really still do something. Burrow's not even got the keys, like you said. So feels good, man.
Yeah, man. We got the Vikings, the Browns, and the Chiefs. And who am I missing? I'm missing a game, right?
There's one more in there. Because we played 14, so there's only 3 left. No, we've only played 13.
We got one more game left. I can't think of who the other game is, but
Vikings, Browns,
I'll
Chiefs.
say it. Vikings, Browns, Chiefs, and somebody please. I don't know, man. My brain is escaping me. Right?
We're dropping it. That's the thing, though. Is like how many? Like I feel like we all feel we expected to come into that Vikings game as an underdog against another backup quarterback, and here we are. I feel very confident in that game sitting where I am today, right now. And even that Browns game and Chiefs game, I wouldn't say I feel confident about, but I'm kind of excited to see how they go. To be quite honest with you, Harry.
You know who we got, man? We got the Steelers, man. We're gonna go up there and dominate the Steelers.
We got round 2
in their house. You know what I mean? We're gonna dominate the Steelers, man. We're gonna dominate them. Send them into franchise misery. All right, because that's where they're headed for. I was looking at the chat, man. I was like reading the chat, okay, and I'm like seeing like a bunch of people say his. I'm like, what are they saying? What is all these people putting his with the long S's on the back? And then it clicked. Molly and my guy Sean just started the newest nickname for Jake the Snake. Huh? How about that? And they're saying his. Jake the Snake. It's official, man. Jake the Snake. It is official. Jake the Snake. I did not want to give him a nickname too soon, guys. I got to be honest. People were saying Jake Shiesty. They were saying Jake and Bake. Jake the Snake's the best nickname that you could ever come up with, man. So I'm thinking we take the Twitter. Jeez, oh, Pete. We take the Twitter and start the Jake the Snake. Let's get it cooking, man. Parker, it's been an excellent show, dude. It's always incredible talking ball with you, man. You're an amazing football mind. It's always Who Day, brother, until the end of time, right? It's always Who Day.
Always and forever, brother. It's always good to hop on with you, man. I feel like we don't talk enough ball outside of this show, so it's always good when I get to see Eric on the schedule with me. I'm in here talking ball with my boy, and it's like you said, man. It's Who Day forever. We've been through enough rough times. These are the good times we're in right now, man. Who Day forever.
Who Day forever. Ravens just scored a touchdown. I don't know if they they lost. The Ravens win. Incredible. Man. Ravens won. Yeah, man. It's always Who Day forever. No matter what. We bleed orange and black, man. So Who Day. Appreciate you guys coming out to the Chatterbox Bengals. Make sure you tune in next week for the game. And let's go on this playoff hunt and let's go win some games. Who Day, baby.
Let's do it. Who Day.